Thank you for watching here on a YouTube, YouTube Live at a Blooming Light at Blooming's Tribe. If you happen to be logging in live, then you are logging in on Saturday, August the 20, 23rd, 23rd, something like that, 23rd, 24th. Anyway, and it's approximately 8:06 p.m. Central Standard Time in the United States of America, okay, in the state of Texas. If you're logging in at a later time and date, and you're non-crazy, non-toxic, then just thank you for watching. Okay, so believe it or not, this is actually a positive thing. So before any of you get your chonies in a bunch just yet, I know I can be pretty radical and I could be pretty um, Queen of Sorgy. Okay. And so this is just something humorous about myself, me being able to admit, I think it's important that we do this first and foremost to ourselves, by ourselves, because that's where the real shit is in our lives every day, okay? But also to the world, especially oftentimes we don't share all of this. We don't share the parts of ourselves, um, the vulnerable pieces of ourselves with the world usually because we're trying to make it seem like we've got it all together. We've got it all figured out. We know, y'all know our human nature. Um, and so rarely do we do it. But I personally, it's in my humble opinion, I think it's important that we too do this. So I'm gonna share it. It's a good thing and it's about me and I'm able to admit it because I was just so when you're someone like me who has, and like most that are similar to myself, okay, targeted populations that have really had their lives, like you really at some point start to feel like you had your whole life hijacked on some crackhead shit. I'm just gonna keep it real. At some point, you start to look and you realize, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you serious? And as you start to deal with all of this stuff, especially as you start to come into your remembrance and you're dealing with frequencies and you're cutting through the illusions of religion, the illusions of spirituality, the bullshit and the whole shit. And, you know, as you start working on that, you do get a little bit, depending on everything that you're dealing with, okay? Because if you're dealing with stuff to the magnitude like myself, that's why I say most people don't even know. They have no idea. When you got shit coming from all sorts of groups and various angles and propagandas, you know, ranging anywhere from a dizzy crazy ex and their little posse all the way to the elites with a personal agenda to the wannabes who just want what you have to motherfuckers if you don't even know who you are because come to find out and shit, like it's all these factors that it's convoluted on top of as you're growing as a person. And if you were a yes person and a people pleaser, then when you start shifting that, you're going to be collecting a whole lot more haters, bitch. You're going to be collecting a whole lot more motherfuckers that's got problems with you on top of everything else you already got, because now you ain't a jelly toast wheat back licking bootstraps. Now you know what I'm saying, you're like, hey, I don't have a problem with respect, but that's something also reciprocal. Hey, I don't have a problem. We're not going to go there. Okay. However, my autonomy, my individuality, and all those things, and whether or not we're not going to do that, huh? And I'm just not a person that just because somebody may be privileged in life and I'm not, that does not make me squirm. And that's not going to make me feel like I should be treated like some kind of peasant because I don't have the privilege that they have. Chances are they stole my shit, nigga. And, let me go. Let me stop. Shit, nigga. If you really want to know. But I just feel like respect, that's something that needs to be reciprocal. And disrespect does not actually mean what some people think it means. And I've had to learn that. Okay? People with God complexes, you asserting yourself, you have started an all out war for the end time apocalypse. And it's going to be now their new world mission to recruit motherfuckers against you forever. Okay? And they're going to twist because or on this spectrum, sociopath, psychopath, be a yucky, nasty story because they work angles, baby. They're shapeshifters. So they gonna play and work all groups, bitch, prospectively to get a unified, to get a goal met. The bottom line is I need that target finito, finished, nada, out of here, goodbye. See, and so I'm gonna lie if I have to get enough people to be willing to try to. Okay, and that's what they do. But let me get to what I'm really saying, because this is really more about a humorous thing that happened to me. Okay, last night, this just happened. So, I had, refreshed myself yesterday. I spent a few days recovering, clearing, like just doing a lot of clearing, but that's because I have a lot plummeted. You see that? Not only do I have a lot plummeted, I'm in the mecca of it. It was strategic movement where my son has been placed, and I now know full well what all that is about. Okay? So it ain't, I'm in the mecca of it. My son is in the mecca of it 24/7. Okay? On top of the outskirts of all the rest of the shiznit. Okay? So I'm dealing with it. No big deal. This ain't for no violin. I don't need the violin. I'm just giving context of I have reasons why I move how I move. But I also know that trickster energies out there that's trying to work angles, they will also try to use that in convincing people something that they want convinced. Because some cases they know full well they're not going to be victorious. We just going to be able to keep them good and tired long enough, and keep them good, you know, keep them hiding out long enough, and we can say they're sick. Keep the noisemakers, because and then it'll make them exhausted just by way of that, and then maybe we can pull that off as they're sick. Okay. Or if they go out and about, then we'll just bombard them with so many weirdos, and we can make them look like they're defeated or like they're sick. Like they try to work all these angles, but they inevitably failed. So I had fun with it. Came out last night. Whoa. I was like, I already know how this shit gonna go, bitch. I play laughing to myself. Sometimes I have fun with it. I'm like, oh, we gonna have fun with this. I know I'm finna hurt some feelings. And then I'll make a statement like, we're living by the decisions we make. Because that's at the end of the day, every motherfucker gonna have to live with. Period. The end. That's the end. I'm sorry. I don't care who hired them and or why. They gonna have to live with the fucking decisions. And if they're okay with it, then not a problem. But they're gonna have to hold that later. So I leave, as usual. It's a typical day of a targeted individual for me. Every move I make, everything I do, if they can, it just depends on how strategic I am and the times I choose to do it. Okay, so by the time I finished doing everything I needed to do, I think I had my son wanted something, and so I went. He wanted some new headphones. I think I went and got him some headphones, and it was something else. Okay, I got all that. taken care of. And when I finally got back to the apartment, I had him to come look at the people because I'm like still like reinforcing with him. I'm like, nigga, nigga, ah, don't you own it all? But no, nigga, I don't care if they sound like me. You look in that goddamn people and nothing. I don't care who it is and what it is. You tell them call my mother and see if they got some goddamn balls. Because most of them won't. They won't have no balls. Tell them call my mama or don't say nothing. But you don't open the goddamn door. Yeah, I said, make your mother have to kill now. I'm trying to not go to jail. Okay? Because I'm gonna need to not be in jail if I'm helping you. So here's what's funny. Okay, I'm gonna get to the funny part. The truth of the matter is, you do get to a phase where you realize you're dealing with so much trickster energy around you, people playing in your face, like plainly, just playing in your face, and you get to a point where you're like, you ain't even gonna pretend no more, nigga. You just ain't even, you don't care. No, you know, you just like there's just something that happens because you're just like because some of the audacities that I have experienced, and so this time I left the keys in my son's door. I never do that. Okay, I've never done that. Not since he's been here. Okay, I've never done that. But I think I got distracted because he came to open the door. Because at first I put the key in, and I realized that the top one was also locked. And then he came, and so I think somewhere in there is where I just forgot about it and went inside. And then as I went inside, giving him his headphones, dealt with Osiris the cat with his spoiled self, and you know, everybody situated, get the stuff out for the cooking and all that, right? Boom, and normally, see, listen, follow me. Back in the day, I either wouldn't have said anything and just simply looked at the people, or I would have been like, oh, how can I help? Something more like that nature. I don't even feel like, I said, what? Before I even said that, when the knock came, because my son ain't expecting, follow me, he ain't expecting, I'm not, so I'm already gearing up, nigga. I'm gearing up just like that. Doop, 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 doop. I'm ready, just like that, nigga. Ready to chop heads. I'm ready. Okay. So before I even answered the door, I was like, who the fuck? And then I was like, and I was like, what? And I looked at the people, and then he's like, key, key. Like he was trying to say key. And I was like, what? Oh, and I was like, oh. And then I was like, okay, girl. And he walks off, right? And then I think he goes towards the maybe he went, I'm not for sure. He could have went towards like the parking lot. And he was like, and I don't know if he heard me, but I want him to have heard me because I was trying to, address it. I said, thank you. I wanted him to hear that. And I kind of giggled. And so this is to, if you are out there, or I don't know if you are, I have no idea who you are. I don't know who your connection is to. Okay. I don't need to know that here. Building 6, obviously where you are. But this is why I'm doing this. See, nature, I was snappy. Okay? Gate, it was just, and just because somebody knocked on the door, under the circumstances, but still, okay, snappy. I did, say thank you, and I just wanted to say, like, thank you for doing that because this is where I'm going. Considering what I know about what's going on here and what I'm surrounded by, what I've personally dealt with most of these individuals here in this complex, because I can't say all, I'm just going to say the few and the ones that my son is primarily near, because that's where the activity, okay? I'm sure there's some other wild and out shit happening on the other side. That's how they keep in sync, nigga. But back to what I'm saying. Considering everything, or even this young man, he don't know me. He don't know me, and not to my knowledge, unless he see me on social media. So he could have very well just said, "Shit, nigga, keys," and I wouldn't have known the otherwise, or something like that. People, yeah, and it can be done. It can be done even with a camera. All you have to do, somebody gonna say no. All you have to do, depending on, you just gotta go low and around. Like, that's all you have to do. If you really want it to be slicky slick, okay. That's how people been putting shit anyway. Um, I wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to share that with the world. I'm okay with sharing. I think it needs to be done. I think more people need to do that. Like, okay, like, we have our moments too. When you're living your life, basically like like I said, you're being hunted down like a rabid animal. You've become what they call it. They dehumanize you. In order to pull these types of things off, they have to dehumanize you. So then basically you're a rabbit, you're a commodity. That's really no moral fiber, nothing there. That's It's dollars and cents. They have a staff to pay, bitch. Motherfuckers want what they want. Okay? And that's what your life becomes. As you still trying to navigate your way through to figure out how you're gonna still, take care of yourself and your children amongst what appears to be zombies or the walking dead. And people may feel and take offense, but I could care less. I'm matching behavior. That's what I do. Not outfits, not suits, not physiques, not accomplishments. I match behavior. And if somebody's behavior is as such, then that's what I'm calling it. Okay? Simple as that. And I don't care if it's for whatever it's for. You're hunting people down, you're doing stuff, they doing stuff to innocent people. That's animalistic. And that is equivalent to what if you watch The Walking Dead, what the walkers would do, or what zombies do. If they just because they don't look like it. Essentially, the walkers they're restless until they get blood, and then they're still restless even when they get blood, because it is an insatiable, unquenchable thirst for more. And that's the definition of greed. Okay? The walkers, if they can sniff some blood, they're going for it. They don't care if it's an animal, they don't care if it's a baby, they don't care if it's an old lady, they don't care. And that's what these people are. They don't care. Now let's now flip the script. I rephrase that. Except if it's theirs, if it's them and theirs. Except if it's to do with them and theirs, somebody that they care for. That's when their humanity might get turned on. Okay, empathy, compassion, regard, if it's somebody that's near and dear to them. But usually, aside of that, no. Now, these types of people want to cover that up. This is why these agendas are usually secret, because they don't want people to know that that's really what the fuck they own. In terms of cops and deep state and all that kind of shit, likewise, you know, they do that in that manner. I got a whole theory that I'll be talking about maybe in the next few months of what they do to the targeted individuals, earth angels, starseeds, so that to get them institutionalized or put in a position to get these controls over them and to harvest their energy is something that they're going under judgment for on a big time level. Because that is what, just picture this. That's abuse culture, by the way, but that's also narcissism. Picture this. You abuse somebody, because it's the same shit. It's just macro. It's the same shit. You abuse the hell out of somebody in secret. You fuck up their life in secret. You fuck with their relationships. You fuck with their opportunities. You compromise their health and well-being. You do all these things collectively in secret. And then when they start to develop something that you can then get a diagnosis, because by way of long exposure to trauma and that abuse, they are going to have some kind of a mental health niggle. And so by the time they can do that, then they can say, hey, this person can't, they can't take care of themselves. We need to step in and just the state, this person, they can't take care of themselves. And this person homeless, so we got to put them in institution because they can't. But ain't nobody talking about all the background stuff. They're going under judgment for that. They're going because they've done. This has been a career targeting neurodivergent people, autistic people, disabled people, earth angels, like all these different types, and putting them in these torture programs, experiments in secret. And then when they manifest certain things, as they are still puppeteering these people's lives, and here the sicko part is so that they can still harvest off of that torture, so that they can still get various forms of benefit. It takes certain ones to step in, as I've done. I'm calling it. Yep. I'm calling it. Because here's the kicker. These people don't stop. It changes face. It changes place. It changes, they'll try to shift up. They don't stop. They don't stop doing this shit. And like an abuser, see, here's where I stand, y'all. I'm starting with myself and my son. That's my mission, myself and my son. That's what I'm fighting for. But in the process, because it sickens me how many and how much blood is shed, how many, for how long? How many innocent and didn't have nobody, didn't have no advocate? How many was just shut down and shut up because it was an inconvenience and just swept aside? Oh, they're just they're different. How many? Every day violating these beings. Every day them, basically. I'm traumatizing them. Like I said yesterday, picnic. Yeah, I would like to order me a fucking fucking Burger King and shit. And like in abusers, nothing changes with abusers. I mean, we have to. It serves humanity to stop playing around. Get really real and honest with yourself. In the history of anything since anything that you've ever known, do any abuser, let's say a pathological abuser, do they just change because they woke up and saw the light? Do they change? Do they stop their behavior because they're afraid? They're not. Part of the issue has been the fact that most people are too scared. They fall under the various categories of humanity. They're either they are easily bought and sold like your average human being, if the price is right. Number one, that's probably about 70 to 80% of it. Humans are easily bought and sold. Their morals go in the toilet when they see dollars signs. Okay? The others, weak-willed, blackmailed, bullied. And this is how the cycle of abuse has managed to stand so long. Also, what I'm coming to accept, how you play the game. I don't really know how to play literal. I knew people who like to play chess, but from what I know about it, it's like you have those little pieces, I'm sorry, excuse me, you have the little pieces, the pawns, and then you have the kings, I think is what, kings, queens, emperors, whatever, bitch. The big ones, the tall ones with the, okay. And they kind of strategically put all those little ones around them, and like you have to first get rid of all of the little ones or something like that. But see, I believe this is just something that I'm coming up with. I could be wrong, but my humble opinion is when it comes to stuff like this, it has to happen in reverse. Because listen, the big wigs are already ready to sacrifice the little man, the footman. That's a given. If they have to, that's a given. It's set up that way. They have a contingency plans for that. Okay. Um, so it's really not gonna do nothing just because you know um, one of their minions get hit. You know, one of their pawns lose a job or lose a car or lose a family member or whatever that may start to kind of trickle at some point into the pawn's life. They're prepared for that. You know, they'll take note of it. They have a contingency plan, and they will bring in you know, the next bunch or whatever, or replace the person, and so forth and so on, and maybe give them a payout or Scooby snacks. I don't know. Good, nice try. You know, something. But You have to hit the big wigs. That's just what I believe. I believe that the big wigs have to get touched. But because that's the only thing that's going to shake the foundation, that's going to shake the confidence, because the little ones are so confident and secure because of the big wigs. Okay? They don't sit in that arrogance and don't believe the height. They're these footmen, they're minions. They are only that confident because of the big wigs. If that's taken away, you'll see a whole nother face. I believe that's what might have to happen. In order to get, because when you got something so massive, in order to spread, because when you have a lot of people that feel invisible, then because they know the mayor or their, the head chief officer, sheriff dude, or whatever corruption they're in cahoots with, the fusions, whatever this is. That's why gang stalkers can do that, or organized community harassers, whatever the technical term is for it. Because it's the big wigs that hire them. I guarantee you, when them big wigs either do one of two things, some are smart, they'll pull out. The others, you know what I'm saying, will be hit. But one or the two, it's only then, and it's got to impact hard enough so that the little man can see, like, okay, well, if it can happen to the big wig, it can happen to you. That was your security. That was your protection. That was your, what do you call it, anonymity. That was your alibi. That was your muscle. That was all of those things. Then that can spread enough to where folks could start slowly understanding, like, ain't none of us out here, none of us out here that untouchable. And I think it's unfortunate. It's not something that I would naturally, but I came to terms very, very early in the wee hour of the morning. Still on pitch black. Beautiful stars in the sky, though, clear. I came to terms with what I needed to come to terms with. It's not something that light beings, whatever words you want to call it, try not to get too stuck there. It's not something that they would have naturally wanted to see play out. But they're also not going to be the sacrifice. They're not food. They're fire. And we have accepted that humanity is not interested in truly being inspired. They're interested in stealing, especially the United States. That's what it's built on. Am I lying about that? It's interested in stealing. It's not interested in evolving. It's interested in stealing. They look at neurodivergence, light beings, different ones, like the boy in the X-Men, little boy in X-Men 1 and Shiznit. Little boy. They had his ass locked up in some chamber and shit because he had some fucking healing energies, and they wanted to harness and harvest that for they dumb ass don't know how to do shit properly, bitch. And every time you get a nigga ass some shit, they fuck up shit traditionally. So, and that's what they did. They made a shit show. X-Man won. Harnessed in that little boy's energy. He couldn't even have a life, nigga. They put his ass, you know what I'm saying? You gotta stay right here. Because we want to have a life off of your energy. We need you to stay in this bubble, and we study, and we're gonna probe and test you and poke you and flip you and do all sorts of detestable shit until so we can figure out how to harness your power so we can be retarded. Cause that's what we finna do. We on retarded shit. We ain't about shit. We gonna harness your energy so we can make some money, bitch, and so we can kill shit, okay? Because we trying to figure out how to get rid, nigga, of what we're afraid of, but at the same time intrigued by. Because we actually want your power. We're intrigued and we see what we can do with that power. We want to be able to control that. So we want to go ahead and kill motherfuckers, figure out if we can come up with a, you know what I'm saying, some medicine, bitch. Just objectify. He just ain't even a person, nigga. He ain't even a person. He's something for them to poke and prod at. Ooh, fascinating. Like he didn't have feelings. He's just a kid. He didn't have anything to do. He just appeared, and what the fuck was going on, and everybody, you know. They grabbing his ass. That's why I've come to grips with. I accepted it. I just accepted it. I think that there's few folks in the world left that may not be there, but in terms of the masses, I've accepted, like, nah. They just want these pretend versions. They like the Matrix version of this shit, the fake copycat hijack bullshit version of this shit, because they can make a market off of it. Nigga, wake up. Shit. And at the same time, you know, they get to look. And that's what got me kind of like bothered more so, you know, because it's like, okay, but all these people really be like trying to look like they like not crazy. That kind of got me, I'm really scratching my head because I'm like, how? 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 I'm serious. Okay, enough of that. Anywho, oh boy, don't know your name. Once again, thank you, okay, for whatever the reason you decided to not just walk by and let it stay there, or whatever reason you decided to not just take the key and throw it in the trash, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know, my son and myself, we thank you, okay, for that. That gives us maybe a 2% of a hope that there might be a few people left on the planet that's not altogether looking to exploit or take advantage of somebody. Okay? And so moving past that, now earlier today, you know, I did get a chance, like I said, I was up early in the wee hour of the night, really got a chance to enjoy the night. It was a very lovely, was still connected. It was quiet, bitch, and shit. The sky was, you know, I really, because I actually love nature. This is something a lot of people might not know about me. Since I've had to make all these weirdy adjustments and stuff, but I actually do love nature. I have for some time, okay? And so, I got to like walk around in the night. It was still some stalkers out, but it wasn't as many. It was only like a couple few. Okay. And then at some point it was none. It was because it was still like pitch black. It was like none, nobody. And then it slowly began to get like people on a bike and random dude with the no shirt and shit. Like I was like, who is? I smiled. I was like, random dude come with the no shirt, with the running, and the old girl on a bikey bike, and whoop. Um, but oh my god, and it was wide open space. I felt it was so airy because when they're trying to make you feel claustrophobic. Do you see where I'm going with this? When they're trying to make you feel like you're closed in on, because typically what they're doing is always trying to ambush you. Okay. So it felt so open, and I loved it. And that there was fresh air, so it was like not closing air. And then the stars, I would look up and it was like super. It was two of them that was super bright, and it was all the space for me to just like walk around. And I really enjoyed that. That's where I did a lot of my meditation. Even sat down on this little by this pole thingy, and it was very nice. I walked around my son's complex. I did that for a minute. And then that's where I saw some of the stuff I would typically see. Then I ended up walking to the Park Del Mall, and wide open, pitch black until the sun came up. I was there till the sun came up. It was dark, and I stayed over there. I don't know how long. I think it turned out to be longer than I think it actually was, because I think I just got lost in what I was doing. I walked and walked and walked, and then went over there, and the sun actually came all the way up. That's when I was able to start seeing like the lady on the bike and stuff like that. Very refreshing. Totally helped. Got to my son's, as the sun came up, got back to my son's spot. My cat, he's cute. Dealt with him, went into my son's room to check him out, did a couple things. So I'm like, because again, these motherfuckers, it's been nonstop for years. Okay, that's just the truth. Sickening, but yeah. So did that, and I still had this energy, and so I sat down, I did some clearing in the space, dealt with the Osiris, the cat. Got my headset was already on. I was listening to frequencies the entire time. It was just under my towel. You just can't see it, but the whole time. Okay. And that helped. I think the fact that I was over there and I had those frequencies going with this really good headset, and it was just like, I was like, okay, boom. Rested a little bit, got back to my son's spot, dealt with the cat, rested a little bit, and then I got back up. Typically the same shit is still happening. Yes, the noisemakers are still doing the noisemakers, and everything is as it's been. But I'm starting to see the benefit off of, I'm starting my day off with that smile, and I'm verbalizing some things on top of my frequencies. And so I'm taking note. This was day 3 of what did it do? What is it doing? And I think what it's doing is helping me to get in sync and alignment to things that's going to further help do what I needed to do inside of me to further shift some other shit, like I said. Because then I rested for a little bit, and got up. I was like, okay, I'm refreshed, and I did something that I've always loved to do. This ain't new, but because I felt like we have been such plummeted by, I didn't know what. I was like, are they killers? I'm like, is this like a secret where these are killer people? Like I was really like, I just didn't know. That's just how bad it is. I didn't know what to think because people wear masks. You know what I'm saying? This is something I've learned. So I'm like, are they all killers, nigga? Y'all be putting shit like this. I don't know now. Um, but I've always loved, like, sunny days and the grass and trees and, you know, doing breath work, meditating, earthing, grounding. I've always loved that. That's not new. And I took advantage of that today. But for once, I didn't allow nothing that any of them did stop me. Because what they do, a part of community organized harassment, the thing about that is, on the naked eye, you all on the outskirts are not going to really catch it because you have to be in on the little network. So that's not something that, the naked eye is going to be able to readily detect. That's why they do it as such. Okay? But usually, they'll do that to alter your movement, to make you uncomfortable, to make you feel like you could, because someone gonna just cold sit there like an idiot. They'll just gonna cold, just some of them just gonna cold come out as soon as you come outside and just do some rando shit. Just for the cause of making you uncomfortable. They'll have their phone out. They'll do all sorts of shit to make you feel like you gotta find another spot, you gotta walk around, or to get you out of the element of what you was doing in the first place. Not today, though. Not today. And I think it's because of the combination of stuff that I'm incorporating to clear out these energetic parasites, these trauma threads, because like I said, I've been studying. I've been remembering. And this is a part of why they use certain strategies. If you were bullied, then this is something. If you got some kind of trauma of ambushing, you see what I'm saying? So I've been doing a lot of clearing with frequencies. And yeah, I wasn't moved. One of them came out. Actually, I think a couple at least, for sure. One of them could have. One of them could have been somehow connected with the next, or something. Another of them may be more of a religious figure. The other one. And then the other one, I think there was 3 I may have seen. 4, no, 5. Damn, I just counted just like that. But you know what I want to say? I really kind of just stuck to, because the whole point is not really getting in that tussle or that energy, but I was able to just stay in my body, stay in my energy, and stay with why I was out there until I didn't want to be anymore. I was able to do that comfortably. So they were not able to get an energetic charge. They were not able to elicit anything from my nervous system. Okay. But what came to me as I finished, it was very beautiful. It was a beautiful day. I let the sun bask. I was like, that's the stuff. Like, that's the shit. This is my drug. Shit. You know, I'm stuck in there. Right? And grounded, have my feet in the dirt and shiznit, looking at the flowers and, you know. But here's something I realized, and this is just, it was for me. It helped me. I'm not saying it's gonna make any of this stuff feel less crummy, you know, because I mean, it is what it is. But for whatever reason, today, when I was able to see something about a particular person just that quick. And then why there were certain attacks, specifically certain types of attacks on me. And I was like, oh, wow. But it didn't do the same thing. It was just a matter of like, it was perspective. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, wow, I get it. I get it, you know, and then just, and that's it. It wasn't about going back and forth and feeling something, because that's kind of the place they want us to stay in. They want us in this loop, a karmic loop. And this is what I'm trying to do, master emotional sovereignty, mastering, owning my thread and frequency, and assisting my son. That's something that I haven't, but that's where I'm putting my attention at. Because I think that's gonna be a part of the ticket that navigates us right out of here. Okay, anywho, I said more than I had planned to. I'm gonna go. One of the things I'm trying to learn how to practice is moderation, because I can go. So let me shut her down so I can go on with the rest of what I'm gonna do nighty night. And yeah, y'all, frequencies, targeted individuals, frequencies. Okay, frequencies, and other shit. Okay. Be wise, be grounded, be practical, take care of yourself. Okay? But they've been feeding off of us in so many ways, shapes, and fashions. It don't make no sense. And a part of it is keeping you in tussles with these people. Energetically. Did you hear that? Ethically, energetically. Frequencies. Subconscious. Okay. Anyway, that's it. There are some humans out there that's still kind, and so every so often we may get something refreshing where somebody ain't trying to, you know, pull a slick one on us because somebody offered them some kibbles and bits and a Walmart gift card. Okay, bye.